You ever have one of those days that start out normal and end up with bullets flying? Well, you're about to.
Have you ever played a game and thought,
Hell yeah! Yeah!
welcome to 50 Cent Bulletproof? Now, if I was to ask you, what do you know about 50 Cent? What would you say? Yep, that would probably be on the list. So now imagine you're a video game developer in the early 2000s, and you decide to make a game. And that game is about causing gun violence in the hood by a former victim of gun violence in the hood. And then you release it only 5 years after he got shot. How did this happen? So what is it? It's a third-person shooter in the style of Max Payne, but without the noir detective plot, or the bullet time, or the refined shooting controls, or the fun. But I persevered. I finished the game and bring with me the accursed knowledge held within. I hope you like 50 Cent. I hope you like playing as 50 Cent, voiced by 50 Cent. I hope you like listening to 50 Cent. Make your phone wallpaper 50 Cent. Everyone loves 50 Cent. Incidental dialogue.
Hey, 50! I love you.
In-game television. What we're gonna watch? Oh, 50 Cent.
It's almost like a whole nother screenplay.
This game is set in the Fiddyverse and supplements the 50 Cent mythology. So let's be real here. We're here for 50 Cent. But the gameplay? I don't know. This is one of the few games I don't recommend playing on hard. Just put it on easy, breeze through the game, and thank me later. 50 Cent may have been shot 9 times in real life, but in this game you'll get shot significantly more. So after being shot at the beginning of the game, he begins a campaign of violence against every major criminal organization in New York City. It's ridiculous. You'll end up fighting gangbangers, the mafia, triads, bikers, and private militaries. The cutscenes are absolutely fantastic. Each one manages to stay energetic and creative throughout the entire campaign. It's honestly kind of weird that a game like this has such great cinematography, but it does, and I was constantly impressed by the way they presented each cutscene.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? You okay?
Yeah. Moving a little slow.
Don't worry about it. Time heals all wounds.
Fuck that. I'm looking to create some wounds of my own. Tap the motherfucker that did this to me.
Shit, well for that, you're talking to the right nigga.
Does using every technique you see in a cinematography book make something art? Of course not. But in this game, the fact that each scene feels a little like a music video, it really does transport you into 50's world. The in-game camera, however, is a piece of shit. So let's talk about characters. The voice acting is actually pretty fantastic. It does feel like everybody took their roles really seriously and brought as much of their real-world personas to the table. Of course, you've got 50 Cent as the main protagonist and narrator. I honestly grew quite fond of him by the end. Maybe it's just the absurdity of 50 Cent playing a really tough version of himself, but I just couldn't get enough of it. But let's be real here. 50 Cent is a rapper, not a voice actor. 2005 was the year he started doing things other than music, which makes this one of his first real acting roles. And if you listen to the in-game interviews, you can tell how enthusiastic he is. I guess if you're a real 50 Cent fan, you'd get a massive kick out of this game. But then you've also got Eminem as Detective McVicker, and nobody is having as much fun in this game as he is. Every other character in this game is doing their best to sound tough, but Eminem doesn't care. He has transcended ego and plays his character as a greedy little weasel. It's beautiful. After these two, everybody else plays a relatively minor role. You've got Grizz, the arms dealer, played by Dr. Dre. You've got the members of G-Unit, Tony Yayo, Lloyd Banks, and Young Buck? Is he a character? Then you've got Popcorn, who you buy your finishing moves from. Then you've got Bugs, who's your oracle to 50's Batman. The supporting cast appears in missions as followers, and they are absolutely devastating on the battlefield. They follow you around, attack enemies, and bark hilarious incidental dialogue.
watch all that shit. And then take that nigga shit, man. He ain't gonna need it no more.
They've also been granted the curse of eternal life. It's great for you, but a nightmare for them. My suggestion? Find a nice quiet corner and wait it out while they take care of business. They are the true heroes of the game. And whenever Eminem, Dr. Dre, or Tony Yayo appeared, my experience was made infinitely better. And that's because the more the NPCs do for you, the less gameplay you need to experience. And why oh why is that a good thing? Well, let me explain. So I made the critical error of playing this game on hard mode, and my mental health suffered for it. You won't realise how hard this game actually is until you're already too deep. There's no way to adjust the difficulty midway. It can only be set at the start of the story. And foolish me, already so far into the game, refused to turn back and start again. It was an awful mistake. The controls will just bring you pain, no matter the difficulty. Controlling 50 is like controlling a tank, like an old tank, a World War I tank maybe. You'll often overshoot your target, and then again when you adjust. And no matter what you set your controller sensitivity to, it never gets better. It's either too fast and impossible to land on target, or too slow that 50's mechanical tank body can't swivel around in time. But the bad controls don't stop there. Reload, loot, take cover, and execute are all mapped to the same button. You can't cancel out of a reload to execute a nearby enemy, and they will happily tear you to shreds while you swap out mags. Jumping is awkward. I have no idea why they make you jump in this game. The level design does not cater to you. Taking cover will glue you to the wall indefinitely. You have an absolutely worthless dive button, which makes you even more vulnerable. Enemy AI ranges from hilariously inept
Probably shit his pants and went home.
to ruthless killing machines. Get into close quarters with them and they'll dance around you, mocking you. Contrary to the title, 50 is only bullet resistant, a fact you'll be well aware of by the end of the game. If this were a PC game with the precision and speed of a mouse, it wouldn't be a problem. But it's not on PC. It's a console exclusive that decided to make the enemies fight like the replicants from Fear, with level design that does nothing to complement the controls. I have never missed aim acceleration more in my entire life. There's a good reason why most console shooters fight enemies on a horizontal plane. 50 Cent Bulletproof loves to put you on the ground fighting against enemies on the second or third or fourth or fifth level. Jesus Christ, so many vertical enemies. Take a look at Dr. Dre here. He is an absolute killing machine.
Coming for you! Coming for you!
Why can't I, the protagonist, be like that? Regrettably, there are also several boss fights in the game. Now, imagine, if you will, all the gameplay problems I just described, but with bullet sponges. But then also understand that they are usually accompanied by those same enemies, often in arenas where they endlessly respawn. During these battles, you dance with the devil, hoping, praying that they don't close the gap, or else they run rings around you and put you in the ground. But don't let them get too far, or you'll pump magazine after magazine into the environment, trying to chip away at their health bars. These fights are frustrating, unfair, but most importantly, completely inconsistent. Then we get to the final boss in the game. Knowing that the end was near, I expected a hellish final battle, putting me against the worst that the game has to offer. I absolutely dreaded being stuck at this part for hours. Never permitted to be free of this torture. The cutscene ended, the fight began, and then... What? That's it?
Hey yo, 50 man, run them niggas' pockets.
So is there anything good about the gameplay? Mechanically? No. But presentation-wise, yeah, it's pretty good. All the character models, despite adding like 100 kilos of muscle to each character, they look pretty good. Really detailed and expressive. The music can be pretty repetitive, especially if you're stuck in an area for a long time. But again, if you're a 50 Cent fan, you'd probably love that. And for a 2005 game, the environments look pretty good. There's a depressing color palette, but, you know, whatever, man. And occasionally, the enemy AI will sizzle out. You can zero in on them, and you can blow their brains out. And that's pretty cool. And there's even a fun little arcade mode where you can play as most of the named characters. You fight through short sections of each level to get a high score. Each character has their own unique loadouts, and they up the enemy count to make it appropriately chaotic. You can play as Eminem, Dr. Dre, Popcorn, the G-Unit, whoever the hell this guy is.
Go to fucking glove. Go to the fucking store and get the fucking glove, and I will beat your ass.
What a time to be alive. My only lament is that I couldn't play as White Cornrows Guy. And now, with all that said and done, I can finally return to playing good games again. Thank you for joining me on this terrible journey. I really appreciate it. And now I leave you with the best part of the game.
Yeah, it's the Talk of New York, and right now I'm either fucking your bitch, getting some money, or doing something better to do with my time, but I'm tied up. Leave it.
Hey, yo, you know who this is, man. I'm out right now taking care of business. If it's important, leave a message.
Hey, yo, what up, man? It's your man, Young Buck. Right now I'm getting some head, so y'all holler back at me.
Hi, this is Detective McVicker. I'm not here right now.
Beep.